Hello, everybody! Welcome to Wonderland session number 9. Number 9! I'm almost running out of fingers. We're almost at number 10, but no, we're not. We're at number 9. Welcome. Hello. I love seeing all your little names pop up and your little wave emojis and your little heart eye emojis and your little hearts with sparkles emojis. It's beautiful. Welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you, Maddie. That's very sweet of you. I'm really excited about today's session because today's session I am answering a question that I was asked directly yesterday. And I love doing that because I love to create things for you that are really genuinely useful and that really genuinely answer questions that you have about your lives, right? Let me just tilt this a little bit. Okay. So, here's the question, and this question was from Larry Golightly, and she said, how do we let go of old stories and become the person we want to be? Hands up if you want to know the answer to this question. Hands up if this is something that you are also curious about, that you are also working on, that you're also really excited about the prospect of, but maybe feel confused about, or worried about, or unsure about. Or send me a bunch of hearts. I would love to know if this is something that you struggle with as well, because it is definitely something that I struggle with on a daily basis, right? This idea of letting go of who we used to be is a really big one because this is never over, right? This idea of letting go of who we once were is something that's really, really big, especially for those of us in the self-development space. Really, that's what we are in a constant process of doing, is letting go of who we used to be and becoming the babe of our dreams and becoming this like vision of ourselves that we can see in our heads sometimes, and making that real and integrating that and making this like the real expression of who we are and the real person of who we are. So first of all, if this is something that you struggle with, if this is something that you want to do, I want to let you know that you are not alone. I am working on this every single day. Every single day without fail, I am working on aligning where I am now with the babe that I want to be and working on bridging that gap and like closing the distance between here, where I am right now, the what is, and where I want to be, which is somewhere over here. I'm working on bridging that gap and bringing them together. So we're going to go through some techniques and some steps to help you bridge this gap today. This is stuff that I do, and it's stuff that I think you will find helpful and useful as well, and I'm really excited for you to give it a try and let me know how you get on. So, here's the thing. The best way to get rid of the doubts that we have about ourselves is to get out in front of them. So the best way to not have doubts about who we are and who we can become and what our potential is, the best way to deal with those doubts is to not have them at all, which is a really annoying thing to hear, right? Nobody wants to hear that. It's like, yeah, great, but I already have those doubts, so like, can we just like come up with some solutions? So the idea is that we create this, I like to think of it as a mental Rolodex, but it's also kind of like having a toolkit of things that we create at a certain time that we can refer back to whenever we're feeling less than or doubtful or worried about who we are. So what we do is when we feel good, when we're in the vortex, that's where the work is really done. Right? So it's not like you're in a boat and the boat springs a leak and all of a sudden you're trying to patch the hole, which is kind of what happens when you're in the process of becoming something and you have a doubt, and then the doubt is the hole in the boat and you try and plug it with your thumb. By that time, it's kind of too late, right? The hole is already in the boat. You're already a little bit too late. So what we want to do is really make this robust sense of self and create all of these things while we feel good, not while we're in the doubtful place, not while we're in depression or fear or anxiety or stress or pressure, right? We want to create these things while we are already feeling good, when we're already in that place. So, this is one of the reasons why meditation is so important. It creates mental space. It makes us less reactionary. If you are not already meditating every day, please, I beg of you, work it into your sacred morning practice or your evening practice or your commuting, sitting in the back of an Uber practice. Anytime you can get a moment to meditate and sit there in the quiet for 5 minutes, please do it, because this really helps you to create a separation between something happening and us having an emotional reaction to it, okay? It's one of the reasons why meditation is so good. It's not just because it's like cool or you should do it or whatever. It will actually really seriously help you with your mental health, meditating every day. And if you don't meditate every day, it's okay. Just do it as often as you can. Make it, like, put it on a piece of paper and stick it somewhere that you see it all the time so you don't forget, because it's really easy to forget that this is something that we should be doing, right? We all have a to-do list a mile long. But if you just put it on a piece of paper and remind yourself that this is something that you need to do, then you will be more likely to do it. Or tell your friend, hey, I want to start meditating. Can you please send me a text every day just to remind me to do it? It's easy. It's easy. My most recent tattoo artist, actually, the first time that he was tattooing me, we were talking about the fact that he likes to meditate every morning before he comes into work, because when he's inking someone, he feels like he's putting his energy into them, and he wants to be putting in really clear energy. And so that's important, right? So every time I go and see him, and I've seen him like every week for the past little while, I'm like, hey, did you meditate today? So having somebody that will like remind you to meditate is really helpful. Okay. So here we go. So let's talk about the things that we can do while we're in the vortex, and that will help us when we have these feelings of doubt, of like, I don't know if I can change into this person I want to be. I don't think I'm good enough. I've been told all these stories, like this is who I believe I am. I don't know if I can get there, blah, blah, blah. All those doubts that come up, right? So next time you're in the vortex, which might be after this video, hopefully this video makes you feel really good and you'll be jazzed and ready to do it. Next time you're in the vortex, I want you to grab a pen and some paper. Look at this. I have a piece of paper right here. You're going to grab a piece of paper and you are going to start making a list of the things that you worry about on a regular basis. So at the top of the paper, I want you to create sections. So there might be relationship, there might be money, there might be creativity, there might be health, there might be body image. Whatever it is that sends you into a tailspin, I want you to create sections on a page, and while you are feeling good, while you are in the vortex, I want you to build a case for each of these subjects on the positive side. So if you regularly worry about your relationship, I want you to write down everything positive that you can think of or recall from your experience about your relationship. So things they've told you, things they've done for you, fun memories that you have together, the vision that you have for your future, compliments they've paid you, things that your friends have said about the ways that you are together that are positive, the way that your partner looks at you, the way that you met, the way that you knew that it was the real thing. Anything you can think of that helps you build a case of positivity around the subject goes on the page. Absolutely everything. This is like being a lawyer against your own mind when it's in a place of doubt, right? You are going to create a case that is fucking airtight so that when you have doubts, you can either look at this list physically or you can start to remember it in your mind and be like, actually, no. What about the time that they did this? What about the time that we had this experience? What about this vision that I have for our relationship that we're heading towards all the time? So you're going to create a list of things that help you argue back when your mind is like, you want shit and your relationship's going to fail and this and that and whatever your mind is telling you. You're going to create a list of reasons why that is not the case that you can refer back to whenever you want. This is like creating a mental Rolodex of things that make you feel good about the things that fill you with doubt. And so you're going to do the same with your body image. You're going to do the same with your money situation. With the money situation, you're going to write down, for example, all the times that you manifested money out of nowhere, or you manifested favors or gifts. You're going to talk about the ways that you save money, the ways that you're responsible with it. You're going to talk about the good work that you do and why it is worth people paying you for it. You're going to talk about how happy your customers or your clients or your boss is with the work that you do. Absolutely anything that you can think of in that realm that makes you feel good about that topic, put it down on the page. Same goes for your creativity. Think of all the amazing things that you've made, all the great ideas that you've had, all the things that you've finished and seen through to completion, all the times somebody has paid you for your creativity, all the times that you have really tapped into it, those times when you're in the flow and the creating is effortless and it feels so good. So as I'm saying, like absolutely every single subject that you have worries about or that are just like the little triggers that come up for you, you're going to create a case as to why your fears and your doubts are bullshit. Is that making sense? Okay. So that's the first piece of it, right? So in addition to meditating, so we have this mental space. You're also going to make this list. So you have a piece of paper that fills up with a beautiful argument against your doubts and against your fear and against your smaller self. So that's one thing. The next thing that you're going to do, and this is about when you are in that moment of doubt. So when you're in that moment where you feel bad, you feel fretful. So like you may have done all this preparation, you've meditated, you've made this list while you're in the vortex, but even so, you're like having a moment of crisis, you're having a lack of faith moment. And this happens to everyone. I had one of these moments yesterday morning. I was in tears at fucking like 6 a.m, right? I was filled with doubt about this thing that I'm trying to do, even though in my heart of hearts, I know I can do it. I see the vision. I've got it. I know I can do it. But in that moment yesterday morning, I was filled with self-doubt. It filled me with so much doubt and fear and stress and terror that I was in tears, right? So when that happens, and it will happen because we will inevitably backslide when we're trying to create this new self. Inevitably, it's just going to happen. We're human. It happens. When you backslide, what you do is you just notice your thoughts, right? So you have an awareness that this is happening. And you breathe into the present moment and you ask yourself, like, am I in the present right now, or am I projecting something into the future or into the past? Like, what's going on here? Breathe yourself into the present. Reach for a better feeling thought. So you might want to go to your list where you have like your case built, right? Or you might just want to reach for a slightly better thought. And a really easy way of doing that is to make a focus wheel. And we talked about that 2 sessions ago. So I think Wonderland session number 7 was about building a focus wheel and how to do that. And if you haven't seen that video, check it out. I lead you through how you can build a focus wheel step by step. I explained the process and then we did one together. So if you're unsure of the process, I will totally show you how to do it in video number 7. Check it out. It's really, really helpful. And so this is just something to remember. Like, you are going to have moments of doubt. You are going to have moments where you doubt your infinite greatness and your infinite awesomeness. Like, that is just part of the process, right? You have to accept that as being part of the journey and part of the story, but it's okay. So you don't want to beat yourself up for having these doubts, for having these fears. It's totally normal. It's part of breaking the cycle. It's part of the whole thing. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. It's totally okay. If I can do it, if I can feel bad and then be like, you know what, it's okay, you can do it too. I promise. So here are some other things to keep in mind about when you're in that doubt place, right? So the first is that you basically just want to stop those doubtful thoughts as soon as you can. So the idea with that is like not allowing those thoughts to gather momentum. Because the longer that you're in them, the bigger they get, right? And the further into them we dig, and it's like this endless hole that we can never see the bottom of. So the idea is to stop the thoughts as soon as you can. Sometimes it takes us a little bit of time to even be aware that we're going there, right? Because we are like so involved in our thoughts that we're like in the stream with them, and we're like, oh my God, where the fuck is this going? But it's another reason why meditation is great, right? Because it gives us the opportunity to sit back and realize that we are not our thoughts. A thought is just happening. We don't have to follow it. It isn't who we are. It's literally just a thought. We don't have to grab on for dear life and let it take us wherever it wants to take us. So just don't allow the thought to gather momentum. So when you notice that your thought is like unpleasant or scary or whatever, and you'll get better and better at this the more that you practice and the more that you meditate and the more aware you become of your thoughts. Once you are aware and you can be like, hold up, I want to think about something else. Think about your dog. Think about your favorite TV show. Think about your favorite musician and be like, I wonder what Kanye West is doing right now. He's probably in the studio recording like 5 hours of ad-libs. Whatever it takes. Think about something that makes you feel slightly better. Slightly better. And just follow those thoughts from there. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't allow those shitty, miserable thoughts to gather momentum because it's not going to help you. I promise you that. Okay, so here's another thing about being in the vortex and how we can really use it. So it's like the vortex feels great. When we're in the vortex and we get into the vortex by having a sacred morning practice, by doing gratitude, affirmations, like feeling good, listening to music, listening to lectures, exercising, whatever it is. We can be in the vortex and just be like, sweet, I feel good. Yes, my life is awesome. Or we can use the vortex so that next time we're not in the vortex, we feel good. So one of the ways that we can use the vortex is, again, make our list of things, build a case about the things we're worried about normally. We can also use the vortex for affirmations and visualization. So this is something that people get wrong about affirmations and visualization all the time. We're doing it when we don't feel good. We wake up, we have no morning practice, we feel kind of shitty, we feel like cranky about the day, and we're like, I guess I'll do my affirmations. And we do them and they don't feel good because we don't feel good yet. Or we do our visualization and it doesn't feel very rich or very real because we're not in the vortex yet. So get into the vortex and then do your affirmations and do your visualization. I'm telling you, the difference between doing these things when you already feel good versus when you feel like shit they can't even be compared. They are absolutely so different. So it will completely blow your mind as to how different these things feel. So I want you to start using your vortex in a really positive, constructive, awesome way, rather than just being in it and enjoying it. Like, you can be in it and enjoy it. Please do. And in fact, if you're in the vortex and you're enjoying it, if you then use it for your affirmations and your visualization, you'll find that it prolongs your vortex. You'll find that you can stay in it longer. So you're really just adding more logs on the fire of that good feeling. So use it for what it's useful for. Use it to help you with stuff in the future. So your affirmations, your visualization, and building a case against what you worry about are really amazing ways to use the vortex to its utmost advantage. Okay. The other thing is that, well, this is the final thing that I want to say about this, is a belief that you have about yourself, about where you are right now, or why you can't get to that place you want to get to, or why it's hard to get there, or why it's a struggle, or why you don't deserve to be there, or why it's easier for other people and not for you. That is just a story that you are telling yourself. And one thing that can help, doesn't help everybody, but I want to give it to you as an option, and you can play with it and see how you feel. An option is to look at that story and trace it back to its origin. So you can, if you have a belief about being ugly or being stupid or being shy or whatever it is that you think is holding you back, trace it back to where that thought originally comes from. Ask yourself where you got that idea from. Who was it that told you that you were ugly or stupid or poor or not creative or whatever, that you'd never have a boyfriend, whatever that shitty story is? Find out where that story comes from. And let's be honest, it's not usually something that you think independently. It's usually something that somebody else has reflected at you, that you have then taken on as gospel and been like, oh yeah, that's true, I'm not beautiful. Oh yeah, that's true, I'm not smart, right? This is not usually a conclusion that we come to on our own. It usually comes from somebody else. Think about who that person was and what they were going through, and then think, fuck their perspective. Who fucking cares what they think? Sometimes when we become really aware of where these thoughts come from, we can dismantle them. They actually fall apart in our hands like a really shittily made Rubik's Cube. Like a budget, no-name brand Rubik's Cube that like doesn't even really go back together, and like it gets loose and then all the stickers come off and you're like, oh, this isn't challenging at all. Sometimes when we're able to trace those ideas back to the root of where they come from, we realize that they have absolutely no power, that the person who told us that was completely delusional or fucked in the head or in pain or sad or angry. Something crazy was going on in their house that they were projecting onto you because you just were there. It happens, right? Like, it happens. And if you can look at those things and really see them for what they are and see them for who they really came from, they don't have any power over you anymore. So in a lot of ways, tracing that stuff back to where it came from and then thinking, like really spending some time thinking about where that thought came from and who told you that, can be really illuminating, because you realize it came from someone who had no idea what they were doing in life. If you really want to feel good about it, you could type their name into Facebook and see what their life looks like right now, and honestly, it'll probably make you feel better. You know? Like the girl who told me my ears stuck out too much on the bus when I was like 5 years old. What is she doing today? Let me just tell you, she's not doing anything interesting. Sorry. So we can take those stories that we heard when we were 5 years old and take them to heart and be like, I'm never tying my hair up again. Or we can say what, like, you know what, I don't care. That person was going through some shit. I think my ears are cute as fuck. And if anyone else has a problem with them, then that's really their problem and not mine. Isn't that easy? It's really easy. We don't have to take these stories to heart just because we heard them at a young age. When we're young, everything we hear becomes extremely real to us. It's like the realest thing we've ever heard. When we're young, we don't question anything that we're told. We believe it. We take it in as gospel. And as adults, with great, critical, straightforward, able to intelligently think through problems type of brains, we get to pick and choose what we want to hold on to and what we want to let go of. And this is a way that we can let go of that stuff, because we don't have to hold on to it if it's hurting us, if it's holding us back, if it's creating more pain in our lives. If you've been told something that hurt you and that is holding you back today, you get to let it go now. And a lot of us think that we have to do this really deep and involved healing process, that we have to go to therapy forever to release things, that we have to see a shaman and do 5 rituals and work on it for years and fill out a workbook around it and journal about it all day and talk about it with a bunch of different people and get a yoni massage and whatever. We don't have to do those things. You may feel that you have to do those things, but that is simply another story that you are telling yourself. You can let it go right now. There is no process. There is no list of checkboxes that you have to go through to get there. You can literally drop it right now. And every time it comes back up for you, you can continue to drop it. You can tell yourself, I don't want this anymore, I let it go. I don't want this anymore, I let it go. I don't want this anymore, I let it go. And focus on where you want to be. Get yourself back into the vortex. Get yourself back into that good feeling place where your energy is aligned with where you want to be. Just keep doing that. Just keep doing that. You don't have to punish yourself or spend $1 million or go on a silent retreat or whatever. You can do those things if you want to. I'm not judging you if you want to do those things or you feel that they're a helpful part of your healing process. But you don't have to do them. You don't have to do them. Somebody's saying, can writing stuff down help? Totally. If you want to write it down and burn it and that helps you release it, that's great. But know that that act of writing things down and burning it is just another hurdle that you're creating that you believe that you need to do in order to release it. Do you know what I mean? These are all props. They're accessories to the real work, which is literally just letting it go, choosing a new thought, getting in the vortex. Letting it go, choosing a new thought, getting in the vortex. Letting it go, choosing a new thought, getting in the motherfucking vortex. Seriously, it's that easy. Everything else is just salad dressing on the spinach of life. You can put it on there if you want to. It might make it more appealing, more tasty, whatever. But the real guts of it is the spinach, baby. And you can just take a fork and eat it right now. Do you like my salad analogy? I don't know where that came from. It just came through me. So that's what I wanted to say. And I wanted to let you know some of that stuff because a lot of us think that we have to do so much to change. And if we don't do all of these things, then we're somehow not worthy of the change. It's such bullshit. I'm telling you, it is not necessary. We can change right now. Right now. So that's it. That is today's Wonderland session. I hope that it fired you up. I hope that it made you feel empowered to make some real fucking changes and not just put it off and be in it right here and right now. Because we get to change every second if we want to. Yes. Okay. I love you. Have a beautiful week. I'm going to upload this to YouTube today. You guys are awesome.